Will AI remain a freebie, a gift to all kind, a tool to empower without a price in mind? Hi, I am Sandra Weezer Matthews, and I teach college learners and getting their master's in teaching, and it's an incredible journey. And I teach in an urban setting, but I've also taught in a rural setting with high school students. And I'm along with
Casey Wacker, and I teach in a high school setting in a rural area. I also teach concurrent enrollment courses, so I have some exposure to students who are also first year in college while also being in high school. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about where I sort of feel the mood is at in my school. I don't think this is unique to where I'm at. And Sandra, you could probably talk about what it feels like in your college setting. But I think the honeymoon phase has definitely rubbed off. It's gone. It's like it's over. We're in the thick of it now, right? Like everything's a little bit messy. We're scrambling a little bit more. The behaviors are up. It's just really we're testing ourselves right now. And I can't help but think about how grateful I am for all of my AI experience. And this sort of comes down to me thinking about the resources that you and I have shared time and time again, and about how I can really help not just the teachers in our building feel more confident, feel more like they are capable of handling all of this stress and the mess of what's happening in education, mid-year. But I think administrators and principals alike can also sort of feel what we're feeling and help us a little bit more. And the AI tools that are free now should definitely be something that I think educators play around in, because it's slowly becoming more and more widely used. Therefore, these platforms like EduAid AI that we've talked about on here before are going to paid platforms.
Yeah, that honeymoon is over. Yeah, that honeymoon is
over for these tools as well. Yeah,
this is the time, like you said, for staff development to and for us to play where it's free, so we can really decide which tools we really would feel we could invest in later on. And we know administrators, as you were saying, are super busy, but so are staff. And we need resources. And that's why you and I are here in many respects, because we want to provide some of those resources.
Right.
But we also want to really encourage people to continue to play. Don't get complacent, because you don't want to start paying for this and not be aware of what it can and cannot do.
Right. Or run into those roadblocks of like, I'm limited here, and yet look at this tool over here that can do that. So really the time for teachers to play around with what they need is great, but administrators also need to be aware of what's out there, because they could benefit, their administrative teams could benefit from the very same tool that teachers use, even if their intent and their purpose is different. I know I've talked about Brisk slightly in this podcast before, but it has really great tools that help not only with teachers, but it helps with administrators, especially in special ed, who are creating IEPs, 504s, who are planning out these modifications. One thing that I came across just the other day was a Driftit tool that talks about different methods in sort of like a holistic way. Not only are you looking at assignments within the classroom, but you're looking at like behavior modifications, right? Like how are you modifying what needs to happen in the classroom to better suit the students?
Right. And that tool is pretty simplistic, right? Like you say, it's holistic, but it's very clear what it's going to ask you, right? I mean, it prompts you to fill in, just like many of these tools are doing now. On one hand, sometimes I feel I'm limited by that in some respect, because it's defining what, and I don't like those parameters, but they also are guideposts. But when I looked at that product, it looked like it was really simplistic to use and very powerful.
Right. And that's also it too, is anybody could really get on there and say, I need this, and it says like create anything. So you're like, okay, I want this XYZ, and then it'll give you something. Now it works really well for a classroom setting. I would think even like an elementary setting where you want handouts that are really comprehensive for students, but it allows you to sort of think outside the box too in different ways that you're interacting with students, which I don't know. It's an easy tool, but it's also one that has the flexibility to be more complex than what sort of meets the eye right away. But I definitely don't think, or I know it does not compare to some of the other tools out there. And Sandra, I know you sort of stay up on the guides, the things that help us sort of figure out.
Well, I figure we need all the help we can get.
Right?
Yeah. So again, I'm one of those people that, and you're probably that way too, but you learn about, oh, what's this called? We write it down quick, or we go Google it, we figure it out, we find it, and then we test it out. And sometimes we don't think that there could be an actual guide or a cheat sheet or hacks to help us figure that out. And so kind of going and pulling all the way back to ChatGPT and talking about, they actually have an advanced ChatGPT guide that not only offers a plethora of tools that you can explore and play with for free right now, like we talked about, but it also tells you how you can master in 6 steps prompt formulation. We talk about so much in our show about crafting the prompt and the critical thinking, and that is a process in itself. And we do believe that's really powerful for our learners. But for us, we need to know, or administrator, like, the guides are here, right here in Advanced Chat GPT. You can have it craft it so that it sounds like you. You keep feeding it your email, your writing style, and then it adopts your writing style, so that now communication going out is looking very much like you. So there are premium databases too inside of this guide that you'll see that you can pay for things and find out what else is going on and see what the really cutting edge is as well. But there are just advanced tutorials for all these different programs, all these different tools, some of them which we've talked about and some we have not. So just to keep that in the back of your mind, that there are tutorials, there are step-by-step guides, there are, of course, videos, plenty of YouTube, how-to guides as well if you really want to go on there. But don't forget that those guides are there so that when you are playing, you're not alone in that respect.
Right. And I think that's really important too, when we're thinking about, when these products, the honeymoon phase is gone and they start charging for us to use the premium features or the features that truly will help us on a daily, to know that these extra resources are available. Right. So I think about how a lot of them have the chat bots built into it, not just the system itself and how you use it, but a helper, a little, it's almost like I imagine like a little guide, come along, let me help you. And it just tells you how you can better use their product. So I love having those extra features. And I think we tend to forget about them because we've grown up in this age where having like that nuisance thing pop up and like, how can I help you? How can I help you? And you're like, no, I'm going to figure this out on my own. But I think making sure that the tool that you invest in has that extra assistance is really key, because we encourage our students to be advocates for themselves and like, raise your hand, ask a question, tell us what you need. We can't read your minds. So we as teachers and as administrators also need to do that same type of work of asking for what we need, and knowing that those resources are available is huge.
Yeah. And we've talked about this, that we're moving toward complete personalization. So I really imagine very soon, it's probably already happening because it's always happening already, is that your calendar for the day, if you're a pretty good calendar person and you put all your things in your calendar, pops your own personal bot with it knows how you speak, it knows how your grammar, your English, how you write, everything. And it looks at your calendar and it asks, do you need a Beauty AI presentation for this meeting? Do you need and then it could be that personalization that saves you time, that allows you to be more creative. And that is where we're going. And then we will pay for our own personalized bot.
Right. And I want to be a person that knows how to use that before I'm sort of forced to use that. Right.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about
creating our own parameters. Well, with that, it's not, we're not paying for it yet, but let's play instead of pay. Thank you.
Thank you.